Hello, my name is Eric Simon. I moved here to Denver 6 years ago to work on the AT-MTD project with the city of Denver that was studying traffic data throughout the city. Along that project, I probably looked at more traffic data than any citizen in the city of Denver. That makes me be able to speak wholeheartedly on the safety on West 29th and the bike lane that's being proposed. As a citizen of West 29th, living on the south side of West 29th, I bought a home 4 years ago, and I've been tirelessly renovating that home rather than losing the bidding war to a developer who is going to come scrape this home and build a brand new house with a large garage. Our house was built in 1970. It was designed in a way that was meant to support the infrastructure that was around it and not anticipating the changes that are being proposed here today. Like that, I am adamantly against some of the measures that are being proposed, including the protected bike lane that will remove the parking that is directly in front of my house that me, my wife, and our neighbors rely on every day. The supporters of this would say that there was a large community outreach. I'm sure a lot of you members have seen the study that was proposed. Quite frankly, that study was sent out in echo chambers of the bike lobby. And when we went to go give our support or not support of that study, it was closed. It is also mentioned that this is a high injury network in Denver. That high injury network is a reference to all of West 29th Avenue, not the parts that represent where we live that are being impacted mostly because of the home that we've lived in that was designed 50 years ago with no alleyway. That being said, as looking into a lot of the city data here in Denver, the truth is that actually the majority of these impacts or that cause the high injury networks are caused at intersections that are non-four-way intersections. On West 29th, we have one of those at Spear Boulevard. We also have a pretty large intersection at Federal Boulevard. Both of these are where the majority of the injuries have occurred. And in fact, in the corridor that I live between Tennyson and Sheridan, there has not been a single incident that resulted in this high injury network. That being said, I've sent multiple core requests starting on September 5th to receive the data that was put into this study to understand who were the people that were supplying this study. Surely the city of Denver and DOTI has the ability to give us that information, but we have not heard anything back from them. I've also requested information along the traffic study that was given. However, I was not given that information yet starting on September 5th. Surely you guys can understand that this has fallen on deaf ears until today, so I'm hoping that you guys are listening to the issues that we're facing every day. I think that from what I've found is that the city of Denver is using—
Sorry to cut you off, but that's your time.
Okay.
Thank you. Next up, we have John Jaramillo. John Jaramillo. Next up, we have Kyle Wilkinson.
Hello, my name is Kyle Wilkinson, and I have been a Denver resident for 20 years, and more specifically 12 years at the West 29th Avenue. I'm speaking here today to oppose the current design for the protected bike lane going in on the West 29th corridor. More specifically, the 3 blocks between Xavier and Utica Streets. I believe a compromise is justified and can be reached with a little give and take on both sides. We have reached out to hundreds of people living along 29th, intersecting streets, business owners, and others that frequent the area, with many of those individuals represented here today and on the Zoom call. Many others are fearful to publicly show support because of retaliation, bullying, and other happenings from specific groups. The DOTI website indicates that people in the community were reached out to, involved in the planning, and took part in a survey. However, that is grossly inaccurate. As acknowledged by DOTI, and the Denver Bicycle Lobby was a majority of the input for said survey. The current plan of record is to have no bike lane from Sheridan to Xavier, protected bike lane from Xavier to Utica, and then back to no bike lane from Utica to Tennyson. I believe this off-on approach will be even more dangerous and confusing for bikers and drivers and pedestrians alike. With the zigzagging of the lanes, the likelihood of an accident only increases, in my opinion. We have asked for data to indicate that this would be beneficial. However, we are only quoted initial data for the previous plan, which would no longer be relevant for this newer design. Secondly, the city of Wheat Ridge does not currently have a bike lane on West 29th, west of Sheridan. There are existing bike lanes on West 26th and West 32nd Streets. Even if the city of Wheat Ridge were to put a bike lane on West 29th, it dead ends at the cemetery at Wadsworth Boulevard. So in order for a bike to head west or come from the west, they're not utilizing a bike lane on West 29th without zigzagging or moving on to a different corridor. I would recommend that the city of Denver and county of Denver take a holistic approach and work with the surrounding communities to devise a plan that makes sense and encompasses the Denver metro as a whole rather than piecemealing and band-aiding 3-block long bike lanes around the city. I am in full agreement that speed reduction measures need to be taken on West 29th. Flashing crosswalks and speed bumps would be an ideal start. We can then reanalyze the data and see if a protected bike lane is truly needed. Based on the historical data, as Eric mentioned, there are 0 accidents, and where these 3 blocks are geographically located and farther, I truly believe that it will show this extreme measure is not needed. If a future need arises, maybe an alternative such as using the hedgehogs recently used by the city of Edgewater thank you for your time today. Please, all the districts, men, councilwomen, and men, I encourage you and others to contact the concerned residents of West 29th Avenue and have an open, candid conversation related to this matter.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Alicia Wilkinson.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a resident and homeowner on 29th. We are one of the multiple unique situations as we do not have an alley and are grossly impacted by this decision, specifically the revised plan of Utica to Xavier. A political expert published a wonderful article that I read this morning about why has compromise become a 4-letter word. This is an issue that we see on a much larger scale and one we are seeing here with this issue and project. I care about the community and I am in full support of a safer and slower street, but not when vulnerable people are put at risk and it silences those directly affected. Good intention is one thing, but have the decision makers and those that are supposed to be advocating for us lost sight of it. You don't make things better by harming others in the process. We keep being told this is an executive issue. And trust me, I have reached out to the mayor multiple times. But aren't you, our elected representatives, the avenue we should be coming to bring up concerns and advocating for us? This plan, while maybe starting with good intentions, has now been rammed through by a single interest group, not allowing residents an equal and fair opportunity to provide input, essentially silencing an entire community. I have met with hundreds of people in the community, and everyone says the same thing. We do want safer streets. We had no idea this was happening, and we don't agree with the current proposed protected bike lane and removing parking. Community buy-in and support is a major, if not main component of successful implementation and change for something like this. Again, we fully support the safety measures and want a slower street, but ignoring the other safety concerns that this project will possibly initiate and removing resident parking may have an adverse effect. I would just like everyone to put themselves in our shoes and think about the following things. Would you want to carry a sick child a block away to get them home or to take them to a doctor? Or even walking a small child a block away to get in the car every day? Anyone that has young children knows it's already a feat to get them in the car, let alone walking a block, fighting a battle. Add in rain and snow, whole nother ballgame. Would you want any elderly or fragile family members walking a block in the cold, ice, rain, or snow? Would you want your teenage child coming home from a job, prom, etc., walking a block in the dark? Would you want to leave your vehicle parked a block away where it is out of sight and a greater risk to being broken into? There are many other concerns that we have brought up in emails with DOTI. They all seem to be received, but then we get the same standard response. So I just ask that you guys consider that there are tons of people here to talk about this issue and just want to be included in the dialogue, and I think a mutual compromise can be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have.
Thank you, Council Member. Good evening, members of the Council. My name is Kevin Janitis. I'm here today to urge you to support the removal of parking minimums, a small but necessary step in making Denver a more livable, walkable, and affordable city. Take a look at downtown Denver from above. It's a concrete jungle dominated by massive parking lots, especially around our stadiums. Instead of dense, vibrant neighborhoods, we've dedicated huge swaths of valuable land to single-story parking lots. Meanwhile, housing remains scarce and expensive. We have to ask ourselves, are we prioritizing cars or people? Right now, the Denver zoning code forces developers to build a set number of parking spaces regardless of how many they need. These outdated rules were written in a time when car ownership was seen as inevitable. But cities evolve, and so do the ways people move. Nearly 90 other cities, including Austin, Minneapolis, and San Francisco, have already removed these mandates, and the results speak for themselves. I lived in San Francisco for 8 years. Say what you will about the city, but parking was never an issue. You didn't need a car. Public transit and walkability made it easy to get around, and it made for a healthier, more connected community. Denver has the opportunity to move towards the future too. Beyond housing, these parking mandates actively harm local businesses. Take Cerebral Brewery, voted Denver's favorite brewery in 2019. During the pandemic, they converted parking spaces into outdoor seating, creating a lively, walkable gathering place. But after the pandemic, outdated parking minimums forced them to rip out that space and return it to car storage. That's not progress. It's a step backwards. And let's not forget affordability. Every parking space in a structured garage can add up to $50,000 to the cost of a home. This cost gets passed on to renters and buyers, making Denver even less affordable. Removing these mandates won't eliminate parking. It simply lets the market decide. Developers will still build parking when it's needed, but without wasteful requirements that drive up costs. If we want to build a great city, we need to leave behind a car-first mentality of the 70s and 80s. We should be building housing, not empty asphalt. We should be making Denver more walkable, not forcing businesses to turn patios back into parking spots. We should be planning for a healthier, more connected city, not letting outdated zoning rules dictate how we use our land. Removing parking minimums is just the first step. Ideally, we go further, investing in public transit, discouraging sprawling surface parking lots, and incentivizing high-rise housing. But for now, let's start here. Let's choose people over parking lots. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Grant Weimer. Grant? No Grant. Next up, we have Alexander Whiteman in the council chambers.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm Alex Wallman. I live in Clayton. Almost every Wednesday for the past several years, I've gone to Cerebral Brewing on Colfax with a few friends to drink beer and play board games. I can count on one hand the number of times I've driven there these Wednesdays. For one reason, parking is impossible. Everyone knows it's really hard to park in Congress Park. So I take my e-bike and I enjoy the nice ride from my house in Clayton across the city to the brewery. The Cerebral patio has been set up for so long that I honestly forgot it used to be a parking lot. You can imagine my bewilderment when I arrived a few weeks ago and saw that a beautiful patio with room for at least 40 beer drinkers had been converted into a parking lot for 5 cars. According to a recent Denverite article, and our friend who just spoke before me, this change was made because of Denver's parking minimums. The city requires 4 parking spaces for every 1,000 square feet of indoor space. For some reason, the city decided that after almost 5 years of Cerebral operating a patio on their parking lot, it was suddenly out of compliance with Denver's parking regulations. The effect, again, is that an outdoor patio space with room for 40 beer drinkers has become parking for 5 cars. Now Cerebral will serve hundreds of fewer beer drinkers a day, especially in warm weather. Beer drinkers that spend money that is taxed. Now the city will lose out on that money so that 5 people can park. Urban planners and parking experts know that parking encourages driving. Drivers will drive when it's more convenient than biking or taking transit. That's why I bike to Cerebral, because it's inconvenient, or it was inconvenient. By mandating this parking, the city is encouraging people to drive to Cerebral, a place famous for their high ABV IPAs. Think about that. You want more people to drive to a place whose primary purpose is to get you drunk. Maybe the city thinks that 5 fewer cars on the streets of Congress Park will somehow make parking easier for residents, even though 80206 is one of Denver's most expensive zip codes and the rich people that live there have off-street parking. Whatever the reason, I don't think anyone here actually believes that parking for 5 cars is a better use of Cerebral's private property than a patio for 40 beer drinkers. What does the city of Denver stand for? Are we a city that cares about the climate and walkability and encourages cycling? Are we a city that cares about its small businesses and wants to make it easier to operate a business instead of harder? Are we a city that wants more successful businesses because more business means more tax money, and more tax money means better services for its residents? Or are we a city that can't imagine life without a car and caves to complainers that demand access to free parking? After the reopening of Larimer to cars, and now this, it seems that the city is once again deferring to drivers, as it always does. I urge you to reconsider this change, and I urge you to approve the Modernizing Parking Requirements project. Thank you.